We saw today, didn't we, that Enzo Maresca mixed it up a little bit in terms of the lineup. What we've seen so far in the league phase was it was almost two Chelsea teams, one for the league and every other competition and one for the Conference League. Do you think as we get deeper into this competition, as they start to take it every single game more seriously, we'll see a bit more of a mix as we did tonight? Yeah,
we'll see it mixed up. I mean, it served its purpose, the group stage. Some of the games, you know, were so mismatched, you know, so it was easy for Chelsea to play second and third string, keep them players fit, keep them ticking over, keeping them engaged. And now we're coming in this business end of the season. I don't know, the Premier League games, I think, what's it, 11 games to go, or something like so. You know, you've got 11 cup finals for Chelsea there. You know, because Chelsea have to get in the Champions League. You know, there's no good dressing up any other way. You spend £1.5 billion on footballers, you have to get in the Champions League. You can't have. So that is still the focus. The romantic in me goes, right, you know, these young players need to win a trophy to feel what it's like to, in a Chelsea shirt, to know, you know, the fans want to know, have we still got it? Are we still here? So he's got to get that blend between when he drops players in, when he drops players out. When do you use Cole Palmer, for instance? But I just think it's just going to be a case of game by game, tick away, but still the Premier League is still more important because the Champions League is a must.
Their next games, Arsenal away, Fulham away, Liverpool at home, Newcastle away, Nottingham Forest away, and Tottenham at home, Man United at home as well. There's plenty of work to do in those 11 games, and they've got 5 of the top 10 in that run.
Yeah, and I think if we look back to early December, I mean, Chelsea was second. You know, there was title talk.
From this man, actually.
Title talk, and rightly so. They were performing really well. I think they went on a sort of
change that
reverse back. I think I reversed back about 3-4 weeks ago.
I say that because I don't think it should be panic stations. Yes, Chelsea are in a bit of an inconsistent form since the beginning of the year, but they're still fifth. It's still sort of dominating the Conference League. If they win the Conference League and get top 6, hopefully top 4, you know, get to the Champions League, that's a good season. You know, that is progress from where the last 2 years have been. So I think it's still in the right sort of moving in the right direction.
Yeah, you know, no trophy in 4 years for Chelsea. And I'm just sort of comparing the Conference League to when West Ham won it, because it was a huge event for West Ham. It was such a big deal for the club, for the fans. It was their first trophy in 43 years. And I don't mean this in any way to disrespect West Ham, because they were brilliant throughout the entire campaign. But this is a team, Chelsea are a team that are used to winning. And when they look at the Conference League and the teams that they've played and the teams that they've come up against and really swept aside, is this an important trophy for them?
It depends how you define importance. And it's not condescending to say West Ham it was the be-all and end-all, because that club is funded in a very different manner, and it's had a very different history, you know. So the Conference League for West Ham was a beautiful, beautiful thing. We were all there, and it was wonderful, and it's fantastic. For Chelsea, on the other hand, it's a different entity because you've got, you know, this is a club that's been literally. You try and think of what Chelsea are over the last 25 years. It's just been winning. It's just been winning. Everyone knew where they were going. There's a new owners with a new vision, you know. So this takes on a difference of importance because they have to fund it by playing Champions League football, right? Sorry, they have to fund the squad by getting in Champions League. So that has to be the next step, and that has to be regular. But the romantic in me says, I just want to see this club winning trophies. And let me tell you, if Chelsea get to Wrocław in Poland, there'll be 20,000, 30,000 Chelsea fans scrambling for tickets and thinking this is going to be the springboard that's going to get us back up there.
You've got to be so careful. You see how difficult it's been for Man United to win trophies after a history of winning trophies. So you've almost got to be quite humble. When you go a few years without winning, you take any trophy. That's got to be the mentality. So I think it's so important to win the Conference League, to get that feeling back into the club, you know, to get that winning feeling, and then you can start pushing for the league and hopefully the Champions League. But it's some of these
Baby
clubs
steps sometimes.
some of these clubs, if you take too long, that becomes, you don't win anything for a long time.
It becomes an identity crisis, doesn't it, after a while? Let's see, get some reaction, actually, from out there in Copenhagen. We can hear from the first goal scorer today. Really good to see him back on the score sheet. Reece James has been speaking to Natalie.
Well, Reece, you take the advantage into the second leg of this competition, albeit by just a single goal in the end, but how significant is that?
No, it's a big step in the right direction. Coming here is, a tough place to come. The atmosphere is amazing, and, they set up well.
To get yourself in a good position, you must be disappointed to let Copenhagen back in that second half.
Yeah, of course, it's always frustrating to concede, so late on in the game. Obviously our goal was to keep a clean sheet. We didn't manage that today, but, we got the win.
What do you think was missing from that first half performance?
I think working out how they play, they probably set up, different to what we expected. So, I was, trying to break them down. They had a lot of bodies, in the defending, part of the pitch.
Brilliant strike from you to mark your return to European football. You must have been pleased to see that one go in.
Yeah, it's always good to, to score and to help the team. And, thankfully, we got the win, going into, the second half of the game.
We expected Copenhagen to be tough opponents in this competition. How prepared do you have to be for that next week at Stamford Bridge?
No, of course, we know it's another huge game. We need to win again. We want to advance and win this competition.
Thank you, Reece.
Thank you.
Next week, job done then for Enzo Maresca and his side. And I wonder what he said at half-time. I hope we're going to ask him that, because it was a very different Chelsea in the second half, and they started with that urgency with the goal.
Yeah, he would have asked for urgency. He would have probably given his team a little bit, because they looked like they coasted a little bit, which is understandable. It can happen, when you're going into places which... I wouldn't say complacency can creep in, particularly in this competition for Chelsea, because they've been so faultless going through the group stage. But a little tactical tweak, bringing Enzo Fernandez on, I think, like I said, I think it needed a talker in there. It needed someone to just move people around, make sure that there was on it. I just feel a bit sorry for the young fella.
Yeah, Kuka.
Maresca, because he will have a big future. But when you first game, you want to get on the ball, and they couldn't find a way to get him on the ball in the first half. So I felt for him, but overall, a decent performance, and on we march.
Well, this is the strength of the Chelsea squad, isn't it? You can give a young lad like Maresca a chance and then bring on the big hitters in the second half to see out the game. And that's exactly what happened. Experienced players like James and Enzo winning the game, go back home to Stamford Bridge and as Joe said, you finish off the job. Important as well for Chelsea, because they have been so bad away from home. I think this was a good test of character for Chelsea to get a good result, tough crowd, good organised team, and carry on that run as much as they can.
Yeah, that should definitely give them some confidence. And as you say, with the young player, Maresca, he'll get his opportunities. But it's all part of the experience, isn't it? It's all part of his learning curve, and the more he plays, the more he wants to play, and the more we'll see of him. Let's talk about that first goal then, because it was instantaneous. As soon as we got into the second half, Reece James, such an important player for Chelsea when he's fit. Talk me through this one, Annie.
Yeah, I think Cucurella does really well here. You see him just sort of overlaps, and I just love this cutback here. It's a smart cutback, and just... it doesn't need too much power, it's just the direction. It's a really smart finish, Joe, because it's almost like Reece James sees that gap and the defender's in the way of the goalkeeper's line of sight. Goalkeeper sort of, can't get his feet sorted, and then Reece James just edges it into that corner, just guides it into that corner. Really smart finish. Yeah,
he'll strike better, cleaner balls, Reece James, but what he does well, he keeps it down and he hits the target. It gives you a chance. The goalkeeper was missighted. He's trying to look around the defence. When you see goalkeepers and they're looking round to see where straight away their body is off balance, and then they're easier to... you can get beaten by a shot from distance without much power. It's great to see Reece James back amongst the goals.
And that's it, because he's Chelsea through and through, a youth product. You'll have known him for so many years. And, his career has been blighted by injury. He missed 59 games since the start of last season. That is, pretty much the whole campaign, isn't it, really, when you pick it out? And for a player, it's so hard to try and keep your spirits up in that period. You've got to have a real sort of mental strength to be able to just focus and to have your eyes on the prize, which is to just come back and play regular football.
It's really, really tough. I had experienced injuries at the back end of my career, and it was really tough then. But to have them at the front end of your career when you're trying to establish yourself like Reece, and to keep breaking down in the manner that he has, you know, he'd have been to some dark places, that's for sure. And I know, like, what the world is what the world is at the moment, and people might think an injured footballer, but when your identity is tied into being a footballer and being Reece James, the footballer, and you can't do it, and you're trying to figure, it's like trying to put a puzzle together. It's really frustrating, and I know he's got a good family behind him that support him. I think he looked really, really healthy tonight.
Yeah.
You know, like his body shape and his face. You know, I like to see Reece James when he's leaner. You know, less time in the gym, play football, recover, tranquilo.
They've probably changed that, actually. You know, they've probably looked at it.
Well done, well done. I'm impressed.
They've probably looked at it and gone, why does he keep breaking down, right?
Yeah.
And I think the Chelsea performance team behind the scenes have probably gone, listen, what you eating, you know, what you're doing in the gym, all of the sort of the 360 athlete, and he looks better. He's just got to keep that consistency now. He's a leader in the team, and that goal would have really lifted him today.
Yeah, that's it. He's the leader, but he's so versatile, even in his position as a right back. But there's so much he can do on the ball, and he was seen as the future of Chelsea, certainly sort of in the Tuchel era and just before then. And the injuries have been so unfortunate. How special is he, in your eyes, do you think, as a footballer when he's at his absolute best?
Well, at his peak, we were just talking about it off air. I mean, he was the #1 right back for England, right? You know, certainly keeping Trent Alexander-Arnold out of the team, you know, because I think the defensive side, he edged it over Trent. So when Reece James is on top form and he can stay, the big part for me is the leadership bit as well. You know, he's quite a quiet lad, but Chelsea need that in a young team. They need someone to be that leader, to be that presence. And I think he looks like he's coming more into that role as well for Chelsea.
Yeah, you can be a quiet leader. You know, you don't have to be shouting and hollering. You know, Reece James would have the respect of he's a player's player. He'd have the respect of all of the players because of what he can do technically, physically. And when he was at his best, he was as good as anything there is in the world, no doubt about that. It's just about, for him, I feel it's sort of finding his inner peace and just you know, playing football. Manage him into games. You're right, Resh, he can play in midfield. He went on loan to Wigan and played in the Championship in midfield. I think he got Player of the Year there as a young kid. You know, so he's actually been used more, rotating in from fullback in there, and he looks comfortable. He's got so much to offer Chelsea. He's got so much to offer England, and it's just great to see him impacting the game like he is tonight. I mean, people shouldn't give up on Reece James, because there's still a real world-class player in there that's going to be a massive player for Chelsea if he can just do whatever he's doing now, just keep doing it.
And is Chelsea the right place for him at this moment in terms of getting the game time? There is so much competition all round in every single position at Chelsea. I mean, is that the right place? Whilst he does have the love of the crowd, of everyone who's associated with the club, is it the right place for him to be able to get that game time and hone his skills and just be able to get the regular games that he needs to get back to his top level?
I think so. I mean, he's been there since he was, I don't know, 10, you know, since the academy. So this is home for him, Chelsea, and this is where he's plied his trade. He's had his ups and downs, and I think it's now just about, you know, being that leader in what is a really young team. And being that guy that, you know, wins matches, scores goals, and I think the big thing for him is, can he stay fit for a season? And I think we'll see the Reece James that we're used to seeing. Yeah,
it'll be good to see the Reece James that we've had so many glimpses and flashes of just what he can produce, and I think all Chelsea fans will want to see that. Something Chelsea fans were glad that they didn't see was a Copenhagen goal just after that Reece James strike, because there was a chance. They hit the post, didn't they? And came really close.
They were good at this end, weren't they? They running forward. He's got across. You don't get any closer than that. He's done everything right. Not happy with the distances between the back three, back four. There's a lack of concentration. But it's a great run. He exposes it. He does everything right. Goes across him. You know, when it's your day, and it just drops into Sanchez's arms.
Yeah, I think second half there was a few moments in the first half they sort of played on the counter from that tactical block, and that is unfortunate. I mean, he's done everything he can there, but it just didn't go in. But you know, I think Chelsea just stepped it up, and it was a bit too much for Copenhagen in the second half.
Yeah, and they stepped it up again via Enzo.
I really like this part of Enzo Fernandez's game. I think when he came to Chelsea, obviously, it was sort of playing in this deep sort of defensive mid position. Didn't really look like he was influencing games. This is where I think he goes to another level. Get in the box, get in there with the forwards, and he'll score goals. You know, sort of take the handbrake off him, you know, from that midfield position. I think this is where we're seeing the Enzo Fernandez, the 100 million price tag that Chelsea paid. This is where we're starting to see a return on that investment.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. I think he needs to be played from a deeper position to use his game intelligence, but he also needs to be freed up, like Annie said, because to arrive in the box and score goals. I don't think he's a number 10 in a sense where he's going to play with his back to goal or get it on the half turn and beat someone in the tyre. He can do it. I don't think it's his specialty. His specialty is his game intelligence, the way he can dictate the play, and also that he'll time runs and he'll score enough goals to be a real threat. And this was a good finish there because he had to open his body and sort of lift it. So he's a very intelligent finisher. That 5 goals in 32 appearances will go up now he's playing in this new role.
Yeah, he arrived, as you say, with that £100 million price tag, most expensive player in the Premier League, with a World Cup winners' medal around his neck. He's sort of had patches, but this is probably the best we're seeing him in, do you think, in this position now? He's kind of found his feet?
I think so. I mean, you have to remember, he's coming in with that massive price tag, which is very difficult for players. He's a young man who's only just come over to Europe. He was at 6 months at Benfica, won the World Cup. All of a sudden, he's at Chelsea, and everyone thinks, right, plug in, you go in there now. You're going to be Frank Lampard or Cesc Fabregas or Ballack, or you know, he needs to still develop and learn. And so we're watching him get better. And will he achieve, you know, will people look back and go, that's good value for money? Only time will tell. But what he has got, which I think sets him apart from the other midfielders, when I watch him off the ball, he seems like he's a reader. He's a general. You know, he's pushing and all that. So I think he'll be fine. I think he's a top player, and I think it's good that we're seeing more and more the best of him.
Yeah, it's interesting because we've just talked about Reece James and Enzo Fernandez, the goal scorers. They're 24 and 25 years old, and yet we talk about them as if they're the big leaders, they're the senior members, and they actually are in the team. It's a big responsibility on young shoulders because they are still young.
That's been the model for Chelsea. You know, the average age for Chelsea is the youngest in the Premier League, and so the lads that are 25, 26 are sort of the OGs, the old guys in the team. But that's what you need. Every team needs that. Every team needs those guys that have had the experience, have played at World Cups, played away in difficult places to push the team forward. And I think we saw that from Enzo and Reece James tonight.
Yeah, we certainly did. It wasn't the perfect night, though, because we did see some warning signs in the first half, and certainly this one will ring a little bit of an alarm going into that second leg. They did let Copenhagen back in.
Yeah, again, it's a set piece, you know, which will be very difficult. They timed. There's a great ball in first and foremost. He's putting in, but you know, no one taking charge of the situation there. No one dealing with it. You know, that's something that can be worked on. Levi Colwill just gets himself underneath the ball there. It's a good header. It's a good header, and Sanchez no chance.